Hi everybody, so as promised, I'm showing off my Leatherotics corsets today. So this one I think is called the Hipster corset, and once again, don't worry, I paid good money for this, so you're going to get an honest review. But here's the front of it, the side, the back, and the other side. There you go. So let me take it off so I can show you all the parts of it. Okay guys, so here's a Hipster corset off. Right now I'm wearing the little waspy that I'm going to be reviewing in the next video. But with this one, I'll start with the material because I tend to start with the material on all my reviews. I'm not really sure why. But when I rub it together, it feels as if it's two layers. The fashion layer is a silk satin, according to their website. And the bottom or strength layer is a heavy-duty cotton drill. However, it might be 3 layers because this feels a little thicker than some of my other corsets. Not really sure why. But in terms of the quality of the material itself, it is very soft. I find that the front satin, it is of such a quality and such a tight weave that I am easily able to clean it. Just wipe it off with a damp towel or something, and it works fine. It breathes very well, which is why I'm convinced it's silk satin. And I have had no problem with sweating or overheating, anything like that. I'm not sure exactly what type of satin they had used, but I know that it's different or more heavy duty than the satins that some other corset makers use. And how I know this is because it doesn't ripple very much. When I put this one on, as you can see at the beginning of the video, it had minimal rippling, but not very much. But satin tends to ripple a lot. I had experienced a lot of rippling in some of my other corsets before. So this is very good. I don't know what they're doing differently, but I like it. What is bad about rippling? It doesn't really damage the corset per se. It might give you some suspicion about how well it was actually constructed, but most of the time the real problem with rippling is just some possible discomfort, because the ripples are going to cause teeny tiny little pressure points running horizontally across your body. But not so with this one. Now, in terms of the waist tape, yes, it does have a waist tape. You can see it is semi-exposed, so you can see it on the inside of the corset, but it is underneath the boning channels. So I've never actually tried to wear this corset without any sort of liner or shirt underneath, so I don't know if a semi-exposed waist tape is going to affect the comfort level, but since I always wear a liner anyway, then I have no problem with a semi-exposed waist tape. So this corset has an attached Modesty panel or lacing protector. Different names, same thing. It is 6 inches wide, which is great. And so you can wear this corset with a liner or shirt underneath. Without a liner or shirt underneath, it's up to you. But it is going to still make you look professional without having any wrinkly liner or skin showing. And it's also going to protect your back from any sort of abrasion from the laces, so that's great. It also has a front placket right here on the knob side of the corset. So it's going to protect your skin from being pinched when you're clasping up your corset, and it also is going to prevent any skin or material underneath from poking through. So you have a nice, smooth, mono-colored line all the way through. Now, examining the actual stitching and construction of it, Leatherotics does tend to use a wider stitch width than other corset makers. So Leatherotics might use perhaps a 3 instead of a 2 level on their sewing machines. But my Leatherotics corsets that I had in the past, it has stood up the test of time. It is not going to be ripping at all anywhere anytime soon. So I have no qualms against them using larger stitching if they know what they're doing, which obviously they do. So in terms of the actual construction itself, they have flat felled seams in this corset, flat felled seams on the top here. But the boning is actually inserted not in the flat felled seam, but in the inside of the corset. They had taken strips of the same cotton drill that they had used to line the inside of the corset, and they created pockets, or what is called boning channels, sewn onto the inside here. And then they slipped the boning in there. So you have what feels like perhaps 2 layers of boning channel material between your skin and the boning, and pretty much all the layers, the liner and the fashion fabric between the boning and the outside world. So I am very confident that the boning isn't going to be poking through anytime soon. Examining the boning itself, it is very flexible, and when I hold it up to the light, I can see the little metal tips, which is indicative of them using spiral steel boning. By the width of it, I am guessing that they used 1/4 inch wide spiral steel boning, and they are also the appropriate length. That meaning that the bones sit nicely inside the boning channels. They're not too long so that they're poking, outside of the actual area of the binding, and they're not too short so that they cause little, spots poking into your skin. So there in total are 14 bones, not including the busk. And it is a combination, I would say, of both spiral steel. It's mostly spiral steel along the sides, but in the back, sandwiching the grommets, I think they used a very stiff flat or spring steel there. So the grommets, on that note, they are quite sturdy in the corset. There is no fraying around the area. I don't think they're going to be popping out anytime soon. They are 1/4 inch wide, which means that they're a size 0 grommet, and they are in 2 pieces, meaning they have the top grommet part itself and the washer underneath, which means that the fabric is protected on both sides. Moreover, the grommets are set very neatly inside. There are no split grommets, no catches of the metal or anything. So that means when you're tightening your corset, your laces are not going to fray, which is great, because even though laces are easy and cheap to replace, it can be quite a pain to relace your corset at times. Now, with the laces themselves, like I said with my past Leatherotics review, the laces can be a little bit springy, meaning they have a tiny bit of stretch to them, but this does not affect their strength at all. They are very, very strong, and honestly, if Leatherotics sold laces separately from corsets, I would invest in buying some Leatherotics laces because they are very good quality. I'm not sure if they are cotton or polyester or anything. Looking at the tips here, they don't have any actual like plastic or metal tips. I think they're called aglets on the end of it, but it is rather melted, so I'm assuming that this is nylon or polyester that they used, which is good because it's very strong. When I got this corset itself in the mail, it was improperly laced for my purposes. I like to have, the X's under, the X's over, the X's under, the X's over, and this was more of like a almost basket weave style. It was going over, under, over, under, over, under. So it did take me a little while to relace this, but I had no problem with that. The only concern I would have with an improperly laced corset is if there were any damage to the laces in transit, in the actual delivery of the corset to me. But these laces are crazy. They have not received any damage whatsoever. There was no damage to the corset either. The busk here, you can see the busk has 6 clasps, or brackets as I like to call them, because when you put them together it sort of looks like braces. I had braces when I was younger. Anyway, but the busk that they used is actually extra sturdy. Like I'm putting some reasonable force in here. And it is also pretty wide. They used an inch wide busk instead of a 1/2 inch wide busk in this particular corset, which provides more sturdiness and more tummy control. So in terms of the overall shape of this corset, as you can see when it was on me before, it is a long line corset. It started right up underneath the bust and it went right down over the hips. But I have noticed no pinching at all in my hips. It actually does give me the space I need, which is great. And there's no pressure points or anything. And it also gives a rather smooth line right from the rib cage down to the hips. It's not going to give you a humongous drastic change in the curves that you have, it's going to give you more of a modern slim silhouette as opposed to a Victorian hourglass shape. So if you are concerned about putting too much pressure on your mid-waist and you don't want some scary wasp waist or anything, then this would be a good option for you. But I am warning the girls who are short-waisted, they might consider this to be a little bit too long for them. Because even though I have a relatively long torso for someone of my height, sometimes I need to sit a little differently. For long-torsoed girls, then this would be an excellent option for you because it's going to give you the coverage you need wherever your trouble spots are. So if you are trying to fix up your upper tummy, it'll work with that. If you're trying to control some lower pooch, it'll work with that. If you're trying to smooth any sort of muffin top or love handles on the sides, it'll work for that. So this gives you all-around coverage. Also, it does not give any back fat or back rolls in any way. So when you're wearing it underneath clothing, you're going to have a really nice smooth line. So that's all for the review for this guy. I am going to be right back with a review of the Waspy. I'll see you soon. Bye.